Speed up research and innovation on the coronavirus through a global forum to be held next week in Geneva. Plus, we went through hell, we did nothing wrong. That's President Trump's verdict of his impeachment acquittal in the Senate. He also goes scorched earth on the Democrats and the former leadership of the FBI. We are going to start with the latest on the coronavirus outbreak. South Korea on this Friday has confirmed one more case. For the latest, we have our Kim Bog-young on the line for us. Bog-young, tell us more about this latest case.
Yes, Mark. South Korea confirmed one more coronavirus case on Friday, bringing the total to 24. According to government sources, one of the Korean evacuees who returned to South Korea from Wuhan, the epicenter of the outbreak, tested positive on Thursday afternoon. The patient was moved to the National Medical Center. This is the second case among the evacuees who flew in from Wuhan. The evacuees have been under a 14-day isolation since arriving back from Wuhan last Friday. They are staying in public facilities in Asan City and Jincheon County. Both locations are about a 2-hour drive from Seoul. This comes after the Central Accident Prevention Division confirmed 4 cases on Thursday. 3 cases were Korean nationals who are either family members or have had close contact with other confirmed patients. They all have been in voluntary quarantine before being diagnosed with the disease. The other case was a Chinese woman who arrived in South Korea on January 23rd as a tourist. As the new cases were confirmed, the local TV home shopping channel GS Shop, where one of those new patients has been working, decided to go off air until Saturday morning. This is the first complete temporary shutdown of a company in South Korea due to the coronavirus.
And Bog-young, starting from today, we hear that there are some policy changes that are taking place that aim to reduce the spread of the coronavirus here in South Korea.
That's right, Mark. Even if you haven't visited China but are concerned you might have the novel coronavirus, because you have a high fever, you can get tested from today. Officials announced the move due to a rise in the number of confirmed patients who have been to countries other than China. To be eligible to take the test, you have to have a high fever, one of the symptoms of the coronavirus. Meanwhile, a locally developed new test kit that only takes 6 hours to determine whether a patient is infected will also be available at 50 medical institutions across South Korea. That's all from me for now. Back to you, Mark.
Okay, thank you very much for that report. Now, China has updated the numbers on the death toll and number of confirmed patients there. According to China's state media, CCTV, on this Friday, 636 people in China have died, and the total number of confirmed patients stands at 31,116. There were more than 2,400 newly confirmed cases and 69 more deaths in China's Hubei province compared to the day before. And a hospital in China has confirmed that the so-called Wuhan whistleblower doctor has died. According to the AP, the Wuhan Central Hospital said through its social media account that Dr. Li Arirang died due to the infection in the early hours of Friday. Dr. Li warned his fellow doctors in advance about the novel coronavirus. He said it looked like SARS. He was then summoned by China's Public Security Bureau and was investigated for what they said was spreading false rumors. The World Health Organization will convene a global research and innovation forum next week to mobilize international action in response to the worldwide outbreak of the novel coronavirus. Jaein has this report.
In their latest move to fight the spread of the novel coronavirus worldwide, the World Health Organization announced on Thursday that they will convene a global research and innovation forum. The forum is scheduled for February 11th and 12th in Geneva and will be organized in collaboration with the Global Research Collaboration for Infectious Disease Preparedness. The forum will bring together leading scientists, public health agencies, ministries of health, and research funders seeking a vaccine. Among the topics to be discussed will be identifying the source of the virus, as well as sharing biological samples and genetic sequences. Experts will also build on existing research from SARS and MERS outbreaks and identify knowledge gaps and research priorities in order to rev up the development of medical products to minimize the impact of the virus. The WHO says the forum will produce a global research agenda for the new coronavirus, as well as set priorities and frameworks that can guide which projects should be undertaken first. The organization hopes the meeting will lead to the speedy development and evaluation of effective diagnostic tests, vaccines, and medicines, while creating mechanisms for affordable access to the world's most vulnerable populations. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Now, the South Korean government is launching an emergency research team in order to develop treatments for the coronavirus. The Science Ministry revealed the plans on Thursday to inject $4.2 million into a task force within the month to identify the most urgent medical needs. Officials will prioritize developing a rapid testing kit for a faster diagnosis and improving the drugs currently being used in the treatment of the virus. Other tasks include analyzing the properties of the coronavirus and any transmission patterns seen around the world. Now, some good news in regards to the outbreak. South Korea's first confirmed coronavirus patient has been discharged from hospital after nearly 3 weeks of quarantine. The patient, a Chinese national, left a handwritten letter to the medical staff thanking them for taking care of her. Kim Mo-kyun reports.
The 35-year-old Chinese national, who was South Korea's first confirmed case of the novel coronavirus, left a letter of gratitude to the medical staff at Incheon Medical Center before being released from an 18-day quarantine. In the letter written in English, she thanked the doctors and other members of the medical team for their meticulous care. She said that she could not imagine what would have happened to her and her family if it weren't for the advanced medical technology and professional attitude of the staff members. Quoting a famous saying in China that goes, "The healer has benevolence," she called the medical team her heroes and promised to live the rest of her life also helping others. She also mentioned hopes to invite the staff to her hometown after the coronavirus outbreak settles down. In response to the letter, the director of the hospital, Cho Seung-yeon, said that such an epidemic is not simply a problem of one country and that it has become an area that desperately requires international cooperation and mutual support. The director also took the opportunity to thank all medical personnel nationwide striving day and night to contain the virus. Kim Mo-kyun, Arirang News.
Now, local health authorities here in South Korea are revealing the timelines and visited locations of confirmed coronavirus patients. Now, these parts of cities and parts of the country could be seen as prohibited areas among citizens, and some critics say it's stoking unnecessary fear. However, people are reminded that it's a means of checking the possibility of infection as well. Chair Jong-yoon has this report.
Contact tracing is one of the hottest keywords in South Korea at the moment. It tracks the history, timeline, and the locations visited of a coronavirus patient. Amid the fast-spreading coronavirus outbreak, information such as the restaurant and hotel the confirmed patient went to, how they had arrived, which subway line or the number of the bus they took is shown. Even the seat they had sat in at the movie theater is being revealed. This is the movie theater in central Seoul where the fifth confirmed patient visited a day after arriving from Wuhan. In response, the theater closed temporarily and quarantined the area. It reopened on Monday, but still seems quite empty. In order to contain the virus from spreading, the cinema has tripled their quarantine measures by hiring fumigators. The cinema have provided hand sanitizers for customers as well. However, citizens are still not convinced.
After I heard this area was contaminated, I stopped coming. I nearly came with my mask on after the disinfection. But I'm still scared. I check the information every morning.
Contact tracing is changing people's daily lives. Citizens are checking the coronavirus locations and are avoiding going to these areas. Experts say, however, tracing information is not a list of places to avoid, but rather critical in checking the possibility of infection.
The infected areas are already quarantined, so there's no need to avoid entering these areas. The virus can only survive for a few hours, a day or two maximum. Moreover, if it's quarantined, the virus is 100% eliminated.
He also said that tracing is best used to check whether one was in the same area as a confirmed patient. If this was the case, one should watch closely for related symptoms and report to health authorities quickly should they begin to show. He added that it's important to keep track of the updated information to check the possibility of further infection. 최정윤, Arirang News.
Now, wearing a protective face mask and washing your hands frequently and thoroughly are widely believed to be the most effective ways to help prevent the spread of the coronavirus. But with so many types of masks and hand sanitizers on the market, it can be quite confusing for consumers looking for the very best for themselves and their families. Our Lee Kyung-eun has some tips on what to look out for.
The coronavirus outbreak has triggered a nationwide rush for masks in South Korea. Drugstores, supermarkets, and even online stores are struggling to keep up with the skyrocketing demand.
I've tried lots of places, but they all sold out.
Now, because of the new Chinese virus, mostly all the masks in my districts are sold out.
And lots of customers are looking for a particular type of mask.
Many people ask for disinfection masks that have the KF label, the 80, 94, and 99.
The numbers of the KF or Korea filter masks show their filtering ability. The KF80 can filter more than 80% of particles that are 0.6 micrometers or larger. The KF94 can block 94% of particles that are as small as 0.4 micrometers, and the KF99 can block 99% of these particles. But experts say when it comes to preventing the infection of the novel coronavirus, it doesn't matter which type of mask you use because the virus spreads through large droplets.
The virus doesn't come out itself. It comes out surrounded by saliva when you cough. And those droplets are bigger than 0.5 micrometers, which can be filtered by most general or medical masks. In fact, it is hard to breathe through masks with high KF numbers, so people are prone to taking them off.
Experts say how you wear your mask is more important. The mask should tightly cover your face and your nose, and you should adjust it so that it fits the shape of your nose. Experts say wearing a mask can also help prevent secondary infection.
You also have to be careful about the secondary or indirect infections from some droplets, meaning you pick up the virus by touching an object with your hand and then touching your face. But wearing a mask can lower the chances of that happening.
To make sure that people have no problem getting hold of masks, the government announced on Thursday that people can report illegal trading activities to the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety. Lee Kyung-eun, Arirang News.
US President Donald Trump has celebrated his acquittal by the Senate with speeches at the White House and at the National Prayer Breakfast. For more on this and other news from around the world, let's turn to our Yoon Jung-min. Jung-min, the president lashed out as the Democrats, as expected, in both of his speeches.
Right, Mark. President Trump seemed satisfied with Wednesday's impeachment vote by the Senate. He celebrated his acquittal at the White House with his fellow Republicans. Take a look.
Did nothing wrong. I've done things wrong in my life, I will admit. Not purposely, but I've done things wrong. But this is what the end result is.
At the annual National Prayer Breakfast on Thursday, Trump also triumphantly held up copies of newspapers with acquitted headlines. He then slammed Democrats, particularly House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, while she was sitting only a few seats away from him. President Trump targeted lawmakers who led the impeachment campaign against him, calling them very dishonest and corrupt. He went on to say that they have done everything possible to destroy him and hurt the nation. Trump also jabbed Senator Mitt Romney, who was the only Republican to vote to convict him. Referring to Pelosi, President Trump said he doesn't like people who say, "I pray for you," because when he knows that's not so. In response, take a listen to what Pelosi said after the breakfast.
This morning, the president said when people use faith as an excuse to do, I don't know if he said bad things, but whatever he said was just so completely inappropriate, especially at a prayer breakfast.
Adding President Trump has shredded the truth in speech, she emphasized that history will always record that Trump was impeached by the House for undermining national security. Two avalanches in eastern Turkey have killed tens of people as a second downslide happened while people were working to rescue victims of the first. Local authorities say the avalanche killed more than 40 people and injured more than 80. Currently, 700 additional rescue personnel have been sent to the area. Authorities say harsh conditions there made it difficult for them to operate. The rescue team said operations had been put on hold as there could be a third avalanche. It added they would resume rescue efforts on Thursday local time. Twitter showed a soaring number of user growth last quarter, which prompted a rally in its stock price. CNBC says the social media giant reported Thursday that its monetizable daily active users grew 21% on quarter to reach 152 million in the fourth quarter. Those users refer to those who log in and access Twitter on any given day through its website or its applications that are able to show ads. Twitter's earnings for the fourth quarter beat estimates on revenue but fell short on profit. The news helped the company stocks jump 15% Thursday.
U.S. Defense Secretary Mark Esper says rogue states like North Korea and Iran demand constant vigilance. Speaking at the Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies on Thursday, local time, Esper said the current U.S. strategy is designed to help Washington maintain a competitive advantage over adversaries such as China and Russia. He said Beijing and Moscow had violated the sovereignty of their neighbors and routinely used coercive strategies against smaller states to gain strategic advantages. Esper's comments came as he discussed the Trump administration's national defense strategy, which was released around 2 years ago. President Moon Jae-in has pledged the South Korean government's utmost efforts to shield the South Korean economy as best as possible from the worst financial impacts of the coronavirus outbreak. At a ceremony in the southern city of Busan on Thursday, he vowed that the focus of his administration remains on creating new and quality jobs. Kim Min-ji with the details.
President Moon Jae-in hopes that a new job creation project in the southern port city of Busan will be able to prop up the country's economic vitality as it counters the novel coronavirus. At a ceremony on Thursday, Moon said that despite the public health emergency, the country cannot turn a blind eye to the economy, adding that the Busan-type job creation proposal is great news. It was the president's first economy-related agenda item since the virus outbreak, likely a show of his determination to minimize the fallout the virus might have on the economy.
부산에서 시작된 경제 활력의 기운이 전국으로 퍼져나가 신종 코로나 바이러스를 이겨내고 상생도약할 수 있도록 지역과 함께 국민 여러분과 함께 힘차게 뛰겠습니다.
The new job plan calls for auto parts company Carens and its suppliers to invest over $640 million over the next decade and create some 4,300 jobs related to the manufacturing and research of electric car parts. It's the biggest investment plan in the city since a massive investment by automaker Renault Samsung Motors 25 years ago. Moon expressed hope that the win-win project will be able to boost the industry's competitiveness as it aims to export some 4 million electric cars by 2031.
국제산업 물류도시는 세계 최고의 전기차 부품 생산지로 도약할 것이며 부산형 일자리를 성공시켜 부산은 반드시 대한민국 경제의 희망이 될 것입니다.
The project, the government's signature job creation model, is the seventh of its kind following those in other major cities including Gwangju and Daegu. The Blue House expects the projects will lead to investments worth over $2 billion and create some 9,840 jobs. 김민지, Arirang News.
Now, before we get to the weather, South Korea is offering translation services for foreigners, calling the 1339 coronavirus helpline. By pressing 4 after dialing that number, callers can receive instructions in English, Chinese, Japanese, Russian, Vietnamese, Thai, Malay, or Indonesian. English, Japanese, and Chinese services are provided around the clock. The other languages from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Korea time. The Korea Tourism Organization has teamed up with the Korea Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to provide this valuable service.
Good morning. The cold snap that swept across most of Korea for past couple of days will ease today finally, with afternoon temperatures rising to season norms under mostly sunny skies, but dry conditions will continue in many parts of the country. Morning lows, though, will be below zero this weekend, but we can expect much more comfortable temperatures next week. This Saturday, though, is Daeboreum, when we can see the first full moon of the new lunar year. In terms of air quality, after the cold eases this afternoon, the air quality could worsen in the central western regions in Gyeongsang-do provinces, and bad air will stay through Sunday, so there is another reason to keep our face masks on. And it's essential that we boost our immune system around this time of year. And these are some healthy snacks that can help us to boost our immune system, so keep them in mind and let's all stay healthy. That's Korea for you, and here's the international weather for news around the world.
Well, that's where we're going to have to leave the news and weather for now on this Friday morning here in Seoul. Stay tuned to Arirang TV. Plenty more coming up, including our next newscast at noon Korea time. But if we don't see you, have a wonderful weekend. Until next time, goodbye.
The novel coronaviruses are spreading all over the world. To prevent the virus from spreading further, it's essential to attend to personal hygiene and take preventive measures. Rule number 1 for preventing the infection.
Wash your hands thoroughly in running water with soap for at least 30 seconds. Rule number 2, wear a mask. If you have respiratory symptoms such as cough, make sure to wear a mask when visiting medical centers or going outside. When coughing, cover your mouth and nose with a sleeve, not with your hands. If you develop symptoms such as a fever, cough, or sore throat, call your local public health center, the Disease Control Center at 1339, or dial your area code +120.
When it comes to controlling an infectious disease, we all have an important role to play. So please practice good hand hygiene, proper cough etiquette, and common sense advice such as staying home if you're sick, avoiding close contact with someone who's obviously ill.
Everyone's participation is needed to prevent the novel coronavirus from spreading further, and you can get the latest updates on the coronavirus through Arirang TV.